Bartek, I made you a co-host.
Yeah, we might as well get started.
Wait.
Bartek, you ready, right?
We can go right to number 2.
Yes.
Right to number 2.
Lisa, you there?
I'm here and you're all set.
Okay, I'm gonna get started. Okay, think we're rolling. Okay, and welcome everyone to the October meeting of the Community Development Housing Committee. As I said, it is Tuesday, October 28th. It is now 6:42. I will call the meeting to order now, and we will start on our agenda. And our first order of business, as usual, is Bartek. So Bartek will do his. Not?
No.
No, he will not do his usual. Number 2, for that, moving right along.
Okay, so, the home share program was originally started by, Family of Woodstock, and it focused more or less exclusively, in Woodstock, although, it doesn't necessarily abide by strict, boundaries that municipalities set for themselves, right? Because sometimes you have home sharers that may live a little bit outside the program area, and also home seekers that also live outside the program area. Nonetheless, this program originally started in Woodstock, and with the city's help to a certain extent and interest has expanded into Kingston. And so I thought this is a good opportunity to invite the Family Woodstock program staff to hear about how it's going. Some of the opportunities and also certainly some of the challenges that come with expanding a program like this. I'll just say, from my perspective, if you look at how much it costs to build a unit of affordable housing, I was at a conference last week, and that the cost can be upwards of $650,000 just for one unit of affordable housing, and also take many years to actually come online. So the advantage of a program like this is that you can get an affordable unit for much less, and also benefit the existing homeowner as well with the renter. And so I think that is the real advantage of this program, and I think also the real opportunity of the program if we can build it at scale, right? So I'm going to pass the torch over to you. I do have the video, so let me know when I.
Oh, yeah.
You want to
Got a
start?
camera, so I should do that.
No, he's gonna share his screen.
Yes. Yeah, I'll say a few things first and then we can go to the video.
Yep.
That's a great point, what you make about the cost of a unit of housing and when we talk about some of the metrics.
I'm sorry, I should introduce you, but do you want to introduce?
Oh, yes, I'm Janice Lamata. I'm the program director of HomeShare Ulster County. And this is Susan Goldman, who is the co-founder of the program and our volunteer coordinator as well. So some of the things we love about the program is we use existing housing, so we're not building anything new. That we are providing affordable housing units for a real fraction of the cost. When you say $600,000, it's a real fraction of the cost. And then there are all kinds of other benefits, such as when we started in Woodstock, a lot of the population was 50 plus. So we're seeing the opportunity to help seniors age in place, to retain their homes. It's a very different demographic here in the city of Kingston, and that's been part of our challenge. We have the same challenges that faced us when we started the program in Woodstock, which is it's a new program. Not only is it a new program, but we're the first home sharing program in the state of New York outside of a program that operates out of a senior center agency in the city. So we're educating people about what is home sharing, and then we're educating people about what the program is specifically and how it works. So the program needs home seekers. They're not as difficult to find. It's an affordable housing program. People look for housing. And we need home providers. More challenging. But we don't have a program unless we have a substantial amount of each. We could even have 10 home seekers and 10 home providers, but that doesn't necessarily mean people make matches, because what we do is very personalized. We have a thorough vetting process, and as part of that process is an intake interview where we really get to know the needs and interests and lifestyle of each applicant. So we are matching people based on that information. To date, we've made 13 matches, benefiting 34 people. We like to talk about how many people benefit, because sometimes a family member will be part of the arrangement. They might have a parent who's living alone, they're aging, they're looking to bring someone into the property for some companionship, some security. So we like to count that person and members when we talk about how many people are benefiting. So I think maybe we'll show this first, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So as I said, we're a young program. We're in our 4th year of accepting applications. I can talk till I'm blue in the face about how great home sharing is, right? But am I a home sharer? Not. We needed to make matches. We needed matches to be in place for a significant amount of time before we could go to these home sharers and ask them for testimonials, which we've done. So we started with written testimonials. Then we had matches that started to reach the 1-year mark and beyond the 1-year mark. And then we approached them about doing a video of the 2 of them. So we've just made 2 videos, and this is one of them. And this is between a home seeker, who will explain to you what her arrangement is, and the home provider. And I want you to give particular attention to the home provider, because one of the challenges we face when we talk about the program, the area of pushback is, I don't want a stranger living in my house. How do I listen to what this home provider has to say? And I think for us, it's a great selling point in terms of the trust and confidence and benefits that this person is receiving from participating in the program. So maybe we'll show that first. Or next. There is an audio. I'm not sure if it's physics. Yeah, it should start. Yeah, from the beginning. Is it just not Murphy's Law?
Oh, no, it has to have audio.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the audio work. I don't know where.
Yeah, it doesn't tell us much with that.
Yeah.
Hey,
If not, I can just do it on my laptop.
right, because they're only,
Yeah, but
you can, but we want the public to see.
And this is why I asked you if you could do Bartek, because I'd be in the
Well,
same place.
you know, I've done it before, but it's
Some little thing.
yeah.
And you'll notice that we changed our name. We were Home Share Woodstock. We are now Home Share Ulster County. Because we soon found out that Woodstock was just too small an area. So we have matches from Olive Bridge and Saugerties and Woodstock proper,
Right.
So I'm gonna play this video, and it's gonna be audio coming from.
Coming from here. I see.
Okay.
11 seconds.
Okay.
Hello, I'm going to interrupt for a second. I can't hear. I have no sound.
Sorry, Lisa, we're back. We're back, Lisa.
You can
Okay.
share that with it, RJ. Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to explain to people who are watching and maybe wondering where the sound was that we had to solve a
Yeah, so
technical problem?
the video is available on Family's YouTube page, right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was the video that we shared from Family of Woodstock's YouTube page of a existing home share.
Currently in place.
Yeah, currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. We couldn't have paid Penny to say those things, the part about feeling trusting, the mutually supported, the mutually beneficial. We like to talk about the program as being mutually beneficial. There's a task component piece that's often part of the arrangement. We ask home applicants, home provider applicants, what they might need help with around the house. Around the property. We ask the home seeker applicants what tasks they would be willing to offer, anything from pet care or running errands or computer help or yard or garden work,
Driving.
driving. Each match that we've made has been absolutely distinct. I mean, we have a match, we didn't even see this coming, where somebody had a property, they had a hookup for an RV or a tiny house. So we have a woman and her daughter who built a tiny house that is on the property of this woman and gives some help with some things that she requires. So it's every situation is distinct. We've had a young man in his 30s living in the same house with a woman in her 80s. He was going back to school at Bard. They shared, this is a little different situation. They're in a separate property, but they were in the same house. He did things like chopping wood, setting up the fire. I think maybe he did some driving with her and
Moved some things around, a lot of people need help with lifting the packages out of the car.
yeah,
Even if they don't need help shopping, they just need some help lifting things or moving something, the patio furniture in, putting it out again in the spring. Some people don't have a lot of tasks. We have matches where someone needs to be totally driven because they can't drive anymore. Our seekers, we only contract for somewhere between 5 and 10 hours a week. This is not 100% labor. So this woman knew that she could have someone drive her to her exercise class 2 days a week and an occasional doctor's appointment. That worked for her. She has other people drive her other places, but this was what the seeker, because our people are working, so it's not like they don't have anything to do. Because they do pay rent.
Yeah.
So it's
Let me
mixed.
just interrupt for 1 second. Do you prefer us to ask questions as we're going?
Yeah,
through?
sure.
absolutely.
No, please.
This thing's popping my eye.
Great,
By
yeah.
the time you're done, I'll forget.
I know.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, questions, please.
Okay, well, actually, yeah, seems like you've been answering a lot of my questions already, but, so when you do this vetting process, to find out compatibility, how long did that take you, to really arrive at an
So-
answer?
We talk about this being a high touch program, and what we mean by that is our match coordinators who are assigned to the applicant are in touch with that applicant through the whole application process, the process of trying to match them, and through the life of the match. So the first thing we do is an intake interview, and that lasts about an hour and a half. And we have a series of maybe 60 some odd questions, I don't know. They get very detailed about one's lifestyle.
Okay.
So we get a flavor for the person in that interview. Then as part of the vetting process, we run reference checks, background checks, and credit checks. And when all of that paperwork is done and the intake has been completed, then we consider the applicant active. And every 2 weeks, we have a match team of our match coordinators. And we look at those applications that are active and we say, who might match this property, who might be a good person for this. You know, sometimes there are people, sometimes they're not. And what we do is we have discussion and the match coordinators are the advocates for their applicants. So if Susan has a property as representing a home provider, and I might say to her, oh, you know, my applicant Alice, I think might be good for that property of Joe we've got. And we'll go back and forth to talk about what my applicant could bring, what they can afford. She'll talk about what the needs of the home provider are. And if it seems like a good possibility, then those two match coordinators set up a date for a meeting. And the home provider and the home seeker meet. And then we encourage them to meet and talk on their own afterwards as well.
Okay, so you're not interviewing for a specific person?
No,
No,
Oh, okay.
well, we're always interviewing for specific.
I mean, yours have
But I
to
mean,
be-
it's not like a one-on-one thing where
No,
Peg needs somebody, so now you're looking for somebody for Peg.
it,
You're
re-
just,
it requires having this, as Jazz mentioned before, a sort of a stable of people. Because right now we have, I think, seven openings, opportunities, we call them. And some of them we've had on our books for 6 months.
Mhm.
And we don't have the right people to fill them,
yeah,
even longer, actually. Sometimes they come in and out of the program.
Mhm.
I thought it was a very specific thing, like, you know, Peg needs somebody, so let's find somebody for Peg here.
No, we take a lot more
Yeah.
time, and the longer somebody is in the program, the more times their match coordinator gets to have a conversation with them. And, 3 months go, oh, you still looking? Have you gotten a job yet? New job, are you still in school? Whatever that is, and every time you have an interaction, you learn a little more. If you do an introduction between two people, you learn a lot. So, we just keep learning more
Yeah.
about the
And
applicants.
now when you, I'm gonna keep saying Peg all.
That's okay.
When you set somebody up with Peg,
Mhm.
is it for a specific amount of time, or you just kind of see how it goes? Is it okay, we'll do this for 6 months, or how does that work?
First, we have a 2-week trial period that is also part of our procedure. So if we introduce Peggy to somebody and they both seem to get along, then they go into a 2-week trial period. Seeker packs a bag, no money's exchanged, and they get a chance to experience one another on a day-to-day basis. We give them a copy of our agreement so they can review that together. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, the home seeker goes back to their housing. The match coordinator checks in with both people, and only if both people are interested in moving forward does the match coordinator then meet with both of them and goes through the agreement page by page. The agreement is a month-to-month agreement. So there's flexibility on both sides for people to leave if they want. Or, sometimes it happens that the trial period doesn't work out. There's many steps along the way where you can find out that the program might be a good fit for you. This particular introduction isn't a good fit for you. And you have the opportunity to just return to the program and wait for another introduction, or to say, you know what, I don't think I want to do this. This program isn't for me. And that's why we also feel confident about the success of the matches because there are a lot of off ramps before you get to the point of making a match where someone can say, this isn't, or I'm not feeling it with this person that I've been introduced to. And we don't tell anybody what to do. We don't tell the home provider what to set the rent at, what to set the rent at. We'll say, if it's a little high, we'll say that's a little high for most of the applicants in our program. We can take your application, but it's going to be more challenging for us to find someone for you. We don't tell someone, we think this person's really good for you. What do you mean you don't want to go into that home? We don't tell them what to do. So the decisions are theirs to make.
We do encourage people to think about a year as an amount of time that they would hopefully want someone if it's working out. Because we don't want to be dealing in short-term situations. If somebody says they only want, people come to us, I only want 4 days a week, I only want 6 months, and we don't, it's not worth our time. This is a very time-consuming process. And we're all volunteers except for Janice, so, you know, it's a lot of work. So we hope for a year. I think at this point, most of our matches are bordering on 2 years, if not more than 2 years.
I would say we're over the 2-year.
Over the 2 year.
Yeah.
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 So why are we here? We've now had a few years of dealing with this program. Sorry. I turn it off, it doesn't go off the watch. We've gotten to the place where we had testimonials. Now we've gotten to the place where we've done videos, meaning that our involvement with our matches has gone on for a few years now. So we feel pretty comfortable with how the program works. Even how things have ended, you know, matches end for any number of reasons. We're not a permanent housing program, although some matches may last for years and years and years. We don't know yet. We haven't had the program that long. But we're now in a new service area. It's a different demographic than the service area that we were in with Woodstock. And we're actually, our entire service area is the northern portion of Ulster County. So right now we're covering Woodstock, Saugerties, Shandaken, Olive, Ulster, Hurley, and Kingston. So we would love to have the help of the city in whatever way possible to help us broker outreach connections so we can give informational sessions about what this program is about, so we can tell people how they apply to the program. We were talking about the idea of having informational sessions as part of maybe sort of open houses that some of the council persons might do. And maybe doesn't even have to be just home share. It could be a look at housing, a look at affordable housing. We're not the only solution, and we're not a one-size-fits-all program, but housing is a crisis situation. And we are probably the quickest of the programs. I mean, we're offering the quickest solution in terms of providing affordable housing. And I think people really need to understand how home sharing works and what it looks like, which these videos are helping us to do as well. So we need to know, we did a survey before we even decided to open up the program in Kingston. And we had a good response to the survey. But we are still trying to find out where in the community our audience is. Where are our potential home providers? They certainly first need to have information about the program, what it is and how it works, so they can feel comfortable even just thinking about it as a possibility. And we need to be talking with those people who are home seekers, of which there are many. We have noticed in Kingston that we have gotten a fair amount of applicants who have supportive services. Most of our rentals will begin at 500. So we have not been able to work with clients who have come to us through DSS, for example. So, and of course, a lot of those clients, when they heard about the program, would be interested in it because it sounds like it's a good fit, but we are not a fit for somebody who is unhoused. And largely because of that 2-week trial period, we have to know someone has a safe place to go back to. We can't send them on the street.
And even when we do have that arrangement, because of course with family, we often have the ability to say, okay, because we get good applicants, people who are vouched for by case managers and have good work history and things like that. But if they have housing support from the Department of Social Services, it's $446, I think, is the top amount. And we just don't have home providers who have places for that little. It's basically, I mean, $450, I think, is the lowest we have. And that's what they need.
And home providers have financial burdens themselves. They're trying to, I mean, you heard Peggy say she could get top dollar for that rental, but she also, and she's chosen not to, but she also has the expenses that she has to meet. So there's a financial interest on both sides of the equation.
I have a question, Steve.
There you go. Sorry.
So what would you say are the range of rents that people are paying? You know, from the lowest to the highest in terms of, I'm sure it depends on the space and who the people are and where the house is and all of that, but.
I'd say roughly, I mean, we have been down to something like 450 to 900, I would say would be the average. And we average somewhere around mid to high 500s.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
we have had properties where the home provider has asked for no rent and
Wow.
has just asked for tasks. So, as I said, every situation really is unique. When we consulted in the other home trade programs that in the beginning of the program were consulted with, and who we continue to consult with, they advise that home providers should ask something, even if it's a modest amount. But again, don't tell the home provider what to do. We'll have a conversation with them, you know, give them our opinion, but we don't tell them what to do.
Many of them are first-time landlords.
Mm.
So they ask us, you know, well, what do you think the space
Yeah.
is worth? And, you know, their neighbors and friends have told them that it's worth whatever the market is, whatever they've seen, you know, a room in a house with a shared bathroom and a shared kitchen for $1,200. We said, well, you know, if you can get that and next door or wherever you're gonna, that's great, but we don't have applicants who can pay that much. So if you'd like us to be doing all this work and getting you somebody trustworthy who will do the things that you'd like to have done and who you'll be happy to have in your house, then you'll need to consider having this.
Probably if they could afford that rent, they wouldn't be doing the
That's
sharing.
right.
Right.
Yes, yeah. And, you know, our agreement includes how much the rent is there a security deposit, wait, how was the rent paid? We really try to keep track of all those details so that at the end, when we do the exit, which we do, we know all those things and we make sure that it's completed on the other end. We also offer mediation. And that's been a big help because over the course of 2 years, living with somebody, things happen. You know, you get mice in your room and you don't like the, you know, you can't use an exterminator because the home seeker has allergies to what, you know, you name it, we've done it. And so, you know, the classic landlord-tenant relationship does not include good communication generally. That's not one of its hallmarks. It's usually, you know, hands off, at a distance. Yes, I did your background check and I, you know, talked to your previous landlord and that's it. Now you're my tenant. And then it's, you know, oh, they destroyed my place. And the tenant says, oh, there was no water, or there's no heat, you know, it all comes down to not communicating.
And sometimes we're there at the beginning of a match because communication is hard on a good day. But these are two people who have never shared housing together. And so they might communicate through their match coordinator. And the match coordinator will suss out the situation and where appropriate will call for everyone to meet to clarify things. So that's part of the high touch of this program. And even when a match takes place, we check in at 1 month, we check in 3 months, then we check in usually yearly. We also have a thorough exiting process. So we have we meet with both parties to do a walk through the property. We have a checklist of that so that We can mediate the security deposit, and if any damages needs to be charged against that, or work that out. We follow up with what we call an exit interview, which is just 6 quick questions about their experience of the home share. And we also have something called the well-being index, which we give to them at the beginning of the match and again at the exit, which is just a 0 to 10 rating on, you know, your mental health, your emotional status, your physical well-being. You know, these are the less tangible things that, but pertinent things that help us measure the program so that we can say, look at this person was really, sounds like they're pretty depressed here at the beginning, and now they're giving us a 9 at the end of this exit. You know, we talk about isolation as the new smoking, and that is very much something that we find with applicants who come to the program. They're looking for companionship, you know, the older applicants, both sides, the home seeker and the home provider. So it's not just an affordable housing program, it is that, but it is also a program that's addressing people's mental health and general well-being. And as I said, helping people to age in place and remain in their home. So an instance where a family member might come because mom's living alone and I'd like to have someone on the property, maybe mom's eventually going to be put in a facility, or maybe the family will say, you know, it's time for you to come live with us. But how great that we can provide a couple years where they can extend the life of living in their own home. And at the same time, and you heard Peggy say that, you gave somebody else the opportunity to have a safe and secure place to live and an affordable place to live. Which are all the challenges there.
Just reminded me of I was in a campaign meeting actually in Woodstock, and the candidate was speaking, and I didn't know who she was or where she lived, and she started talking about, they were talking about the home share program because the town gives us some funding. And she said, I love the home share program. There's a home share in my neighborhood. And everybody in the neighborhood knows him. And he's out walking the dog. And he offers to bring in my garbage cans, even though he's not sharing my home. And I feel really good that he's taking care of my neighbor who I know is going through cancer treatments. I mean, the neighborliness of it is something that we try to stress, that you can get in your neighbor. Right.
Yeah, I would dare say prior to your kind of program, these situations just kind of evolved out of need. And I can tell you from experience, we opened up our house to a couple of people,
Right.
but we didn't discuss rules. We didn't discuss anything. They needed a place, so yeah, come on. And you know,
It's a little sticky.
it doesn't always work out because we haven't said this is the rule, you know. So if they're breaking it, is it our fault because we didn't tell them that, or is it their fault because they're not, you know, understanding what we, you know, what we're looking for? So, you know, the situations usually kind of dissolve after a while. And I think because we didn't have any initial conversation about this is what we expect. If you're going to be staying here, this is what we expect. And, you know, hey, some of it was great, you know, but, you know, after a period of time, it's like, okay. You know,
Well, that's in the agreement, which each party has when they go into the 2-week trial period. You know, there are questions like, who's responsible for taking in the mail? Where does the mail get put? Do I have access to the laundry? What are some, I mean, all kinds of questions. Can I have overnight guests? How long, you know, what time do you normally go to bed? What are you, everything surrounding a lifestyle. So again, if somebody were in that 2-week trial situation, they're reading this agreement, and that's, they can hightail it out there for 2 weeks. Then you know that it's not going to be the right person for you, right? But the positive side is that it gives both people the chance over 2 weeks to look through that agreement, to talk about it, to review the task exchange piece of it, you want me to do some driving, so how frequently did you think that would happen? And, this is my work schedule, can we work around that? And they talk about how they come to an agreement, so that when they leave after, or when the home seeker leaves after the 2-week trial, they had a conversation about it. They have time to think about all of these particulars that they're gonna have to then address if they decide to go forward with the agreement, with the home share. And then we sit down and she'll go through question by question, and everybody signs off on it. So there's no surprises at that point.
And we tell them, because they have a match coordinator, they know who it is, for the life of the match, unless they leave the program, in which case, and another match coordinator and introduce them. But they know that if they change something in the agreement, somebody dies and you need help doing this for a while or forever or whatever, that we have to know about that. If they're gonna raise the rent because the electric bill went up, we have to know about that, and we change the agreement. There's also a 60-day notice for either party to end the agreement. Because 30 days is just not enough for somebody to find a place to live.
And we also have clauses like, this agreement will automatically end if there's any harassment, and this is how we define harassment, sexual harassment and otherwise. There'll be no transference of properties or, I always want to say elder abuse, but it's not just elder abuse. So we have these clauses in the agreement that are there to protect both parties from any shenanigans happening.
So I'm obviously not looking for a resolution tonight or any action, but I did want to raise kind of this program that is here, it's happening to the council. So that was my intent here.
Yes.
So thank you for the overview.
Okay, I just want to ask one more thing, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I
was gonna say, go ahead, yeah.
So how do you market your program?
Oh, what?
How do you market yourself?
Did you bring some stuff?
Yes, I did. Just have to have some handouts. Where we do a number of things, and outreach is constant and continuing. This is postcard that we did early on, and these are this is a sort of general overview. When someone makes an inquiry to the program, we email that out to them. And we're just getting ready to create this. I'll pass this around. We don't have them. We're just getting ready to have those wrap cards printed, and our intention is to just flood the area with them. So that'll have a QR code that brings you to our website. On the website or the web page, we're a program of Family of Woodstock. You can download an application. You can download copies of our newsletter, which we put out about 3 or 4 times a year. You can download press, and you can just learn more about the program by visiting the web page as well.
like health fairs?
So we do all kinds of tabling events. We have a farmers market this Saturday, Kingston Farmers Market. We'll do informational sessions at libraries. That is how Peggy came to us. I did an informational session at the Phoenicia Library. A year later, she contacted the program. She has also become an advisory board member. So.
Yeah. We go on the radio, we went on the radio.
On the radio, we're just on Lavos this Monday and Planet Senior last week. And we have a guest spot on the Good Work Institute's program, Good Work Hour, I think they call it. We're on Michael Berg's program for family occasionally.
We would just love to have opportunities to be in the neighborhoods more, and really somehow interacting with people who, where we can actually answer their questions. We've been to Rotary, we go to all of those things, and we do get questions, but we haven't gotten those to get out of the room somehow. We haven't broken that barrier to really get out into the public in a way that we'd like to.
they're approaching the synagogues and churches. But, any support that we can get, when Bartek says we have this program called Home Share in town, that carries some weight, and anybody within the city who's representing the city that can help be an ambassador for the program, just helps us further along. We will definitely send you these materials digitally and the card once that's printed as well. So that, you can help spread the word as well. But you see how many questions you had. If I just gave you this, all of your questions have been answered, or to see a video and hear from participants in the program casts a very different flavor than reading something about the program or even my talking about it. Yeah.
No, this is
Sarah, you had a
great.
question?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I happened upon the Planet Senior radio here.
Oh.
Yeah, it was great. But what was interesting is you were saying that Kingston was a little bit different in that at Woodstock, most of your home providers are seniors. Whereas what you're finding here is that there are, say, younger couples who may want someone else in the house to help cover the mortgage payment and to be there and help with tasks. And if you could talk a little about that, because I found that very interesting. So it's not just an older person looking for a younger person to help with tasks and pay rent, but
Right.
other people.
And I think, well, we're still looking for those people too, but, I think younger people are a little bit more, flexible around, some of the ideas that home sharing is about, and everybody has financial considerations. So if you have purchased the building or, in Kingston, and you have a third floor, let's say, or you have an extra bedroom or a couple bedrooms, this is a way to help you offset your expenses. And I think that we might find, that a younger population we might find more providers in Kingston that are a younger population than we certainly did in Woodstock.
They certainly own a larger percentage of the homes, that's for sure. And I think that younger demographic is much more in the age group of people who are used to sharing. They've been roommates, whereas in Woodstock, all the older people have either been living alone for 50 years or they've had a spouse for a lot of that time. And so somehow having someone else live with them is like, wow, how do you do that? I don't know how to do that anymore. Whereas a younger person has probably done that more recently. So it's not so unfamiliar. I see all the time the roommate situations. A lot of our seekers who are younger, not all our seekers are younger certainly, but the younger ones who come are often leaving a group living situation that they've just gotten tired of, or isn't working well, or wasn't what it was supposed to be when, they didn't have an agreement. They moved in,
Right.
It's like, nobody else does their dishes but me. These are the things that
Yeah.
nail down before,
Or you're a few years after school, right? And so you're gonna find housing with a bunch of other people. And it's not necessarily gonna be so great, but that's what you can afford.
Correct.
So to then be able to move this situation where you can still be with younger people, but it's not 5 other people, Do you have a question?
Yeah, when people find out that 2-week period doesn't work for them, is it usually because of the match or is it because they decide this entire situation is not for them?
I would say it's mostly the match.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had one that didn't work. She realized how far it was gonna be for her to drive to work in Kingston. And it was out in Port Venetia, and for some reason she didn't realize that. And she was there for a few days, she said, oh, I can't do this in the winter. Okay, we haven't had that many trials not work.
Yeah.
But when they do, it's usually something like that,
Yeah.
Somebody's out at night too much. for the person who owns the home to be comfortable with them coming in at a late hour. Just wasn't thinking about that when they made the agreement.
Or they might have a clear sense of the task exchange piece and maybe they're not in a position to offer as many hours as the person would like, something like that.
And do most of the applicants have a full-time job? And this,
I don't know if I'd say most, because the other thing is, it's a range of ages. I mean, we have applicants as home seekers who are in their sixties,
Oh, hey,
eighties, yeah, I mean,
I took
So,
somebody
there-
through an introduction with a
Social
an 80
Security.
a 78-year-old homeowner and an 80-year-old seeker who's still building houses full-time. You know, everybody is different. But they're mostly on some kind of a limited income. That's either a fixed income from Social Security or Social Security disability over time. Or they're a student, part-time job, that kind of thing.
and how many matches actually do live in the same home together?
Oh, let's think.
Julian,
Two. I mean, some of them are ADUs that are attached to the house, living in the house, there's probably four.
probably four current,
Yeah.
but we also had, Sam and
Oh, yeah, Kenny.
Kenny
Yeah.
and, someone.
And they're the harder ones to fill.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
So if we have seekers, if they can afford it, they're gonna go for the fully separate as opposed to sharing a bathroom.
I've lived in a bedroom before, challenging.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at situations that I go into a provider's house and I don't wanna say, nobody's gonna wanna live here, but I do feel that way. And it isn't because of the homeowner, it's because of, the bathroom is 4x4 and it's shared.
Right.
That kind of thing.
We have a property where we have to keep telling someone the height of the ceiling because the height of this, like we took someone there and we forgot about the height of the ceiling and they didn't take the place because they couldn't
We had to dump to get
it was too low. So we can, funny things like
Upstairs
that.
rooms. We have
Yeah.
a couple of those upstairs rooms.
Yeah.
Or basement apartments.
Yeah.
It's an issue. So every one
It's
is
really-
totally different.
Yeah,
But those are the things we have to know.
And it mostly is individuals. Though we have a family and we have a mother and daughter.
We have a couple of applicants waiting who just, and sometimes people call, and say, oh, we just found a place, but we really don't like it. And we have a 6-month lease, so we'll get back to you in 6 months, and maybe you'll have something again for us. And people find things.
And right now we have 2 matches at least that have ended and the home provider's back in the program again.
Yeah.
The home seekers moved on, so that's great because then we keep getting, the return of the property.
Those.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's a good, I think, a good selling point for the program.
Mhm.
That they all had 1.5 years to 2.5 years with someone and,
And want to
and now
continue.
they want to be in them.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mhm.
Ladies, you provided a wealth of information.
And help I think give us is really
Yeah.
appreciate.
And please send all of your digital materials to Bartek, who can distribute them.
I will
to
someone
all of our-
take these, yeah. Yeah, I hope to have these wrap cards in another week, so that'll be great.
Thank you.
Bartek, thanks so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
Thank you
here.
for all the work.
Great to see you. And thanks for the city.
And if you have any other questions, just give us a holler.
Okay.
Before we wrap up.
I saw it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thanks.
Safe
Have a
travels.
good night.
Thank you.
Okay, actually, that brings us to the conclusion of our regularly scheduled. Any of this old business you have to discuss? Right. So
So
I
a
guess
short meeting.
our work here is done. I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All right. Anybody
All in
opposed to it?
favor? I think so.
All right.
Yes, you are.
Not me. Not me.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.